The last thing I remembered was the familiar burn in my veins, the world softening at the edges, the sweet oblivion creeping in. For a little while there was peace, a blessed absence of the gnawing emptiness that had been my constant companion for years. Then, nothing. Now there was this. I blinked, my eyelids feeling heavy, gritty. The air was thick, stale, and carried a faint, metallic tang that made my stomach churn. I was lying on a damp, carpeted floor. The color of sickly custard above me stretched an endless expanse of fluorescent lights, buzzing with a monotonous hum that drilled into my skull. The walls were the same, unsettling yellow, stretching into a hazy distance with no discernible doors or windows. Panic clawed at my throat, but beneath it, a more primal urge roared to life. It wasn't the familiar bone-deep ache of withdrawal. This was different. It was a raw, visceral craving, a desperate, screaming need for something, anything, heroin. Sure, that was the old faithful. But now it was broader, more encompassing. Pills, powder, smoke. The very idea of any substance that could alter my consciousness sent shivers down my spine, a terrifying kind of longing. My limbs felt surprisingly light, unburdened by the usual leaden weight of my addiction. There was no tremor, no cold sweat, no cramping in my gut. Physically, I felt almost normal. But the craving, God, the craving was a monster tearing at my insides. I pushed myself up, my muscles surprisingly responsive around me. The scene was a nightmare painted in shades of despair. People, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, stretched as far as the eye could see. In the oppressive yellow light, they shuffled aimlessly, their eyes hollow and darting, their movements jerky and desperate. Many mumbled to themselves, their voices low and broken. As I stumbled forward, trying to make sense of this bizarre, endless hallway, figures began to approach me. They were gaunt, their skin stretched tight over sharp bones, their eyes wide and pleading. They reached out with skeletal hands, their voices raspy and weak. Got anything, one croaked, his breath smelling of decay and desperation. Just a little something. Anything at all. Please. Another whimpered, her voice barely a whisper. I need it, I can't. I can't take this. Their words were like a twisted echo of my own inner turmoil. They weren't just asking for drugs, they were begging for relief from this suffocating, unseen torment. I shook my head, my own craving intensifying with ache interaction. I don't have anything, I manage, my voice hoarse. I just woke up here. They stared at me with vacant eyes, their hope flickering and dying. They turned away, joining the endless stream of lost souls searching for a fix that would never come. Then I saw him across the hallway. His back was to me, but the slumped shoulders, the way his tattered clothes hung on his thin frame. I knew that silhouette Mikey. We used to shoot up together behind the old laundromat downtown. He'd OD'd years ago, a dirty batch of fentanyl taking him before his time. Mikey, I called out, my voice trembling. He turned slowly, his face a mask of gauntness and despair. His eyes, once full of a reckless kind of energy, were now dull and lifeless. Danny, he rasped, his voice barely recognizable, a flicker of something. Recognition, pain, crossed his features before being swallowed by the pervasive emptiness. He shuffled towards me, his movements slow and unsteady. You too, huh? He whispered, his gaze drifting around the endless hallway. Welcome to the party that never ends. What is this place? I asked, my heart pounding with a growing sense of dread. Where are we? Mikey's lips curled into a bitter, humorless smile. Don't you get it, man? This is it. This is what's next for us. All the chasing, all the sickness. It doesn't end when you die. It just changes. He gestured around us to the countless figures wandering the yellow Lagowit, Wickham and Danny. They're all like us, they're all chasing the dragon even here, but there's no score, there's never a score. A cold dread washed over me, colder than any withdrawal I had ever experienced. I looked at the faces around me, the desperate eyes, the outstretched hands. I saw a sailor who used to share needles with me back in the day, her laughter now replaced by a constant whimpering moan. I saw old Tony, the dealer who always fronted me bags when I was down, his swagger now gone, replaced by a vacant shuffle. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. This wasn't just some random afterlife. This was tailored. This was personal. This was hell, designed specifically for us.
We were trapped in a perpetual state of craving, surrounded by others suffering the same torment. A constant reminder of the life that consumed us. The physical withdrawal was gone, but the psychological addiction, the ingrained need to escape, the desperate yearning for that fleeting high, it was amplified, magnified, made eternal. I felt a wave of nausea. Not from sickness, but from the sheer horror of it all. To be constantly haunted by the ghost of a high I could never achieve. To be surrounded by the living dead, all driven by the same insatiable hunger. Mikey was still talking. His voice a monotone drone. They come for you, you know. The shadows. They can smell it on you, the need. They don't have anything to give, but they feed on it. Shadows. I asked, my voice barely a croak. He nodded, his eyes flicking to the edges of my vision. You'll see, they're always watching, always waiting. Suddenly, a flicker of movement in the periphery caught my eye. A tall, indistinct figure seemed to ripple in the hazy distance, its form shifting and unsettling. A wave of pure terror washed over me, a primal fear that had nothing to do with the craving. Stay away from the walls, Mikey whispered urgently. They come from the walls. I backed away instinctively, my eyes glued to the shifting figure. The air seemed to grow colder, the buzzing of the lights louder, more insistent. The craving was still there, a dull roar in the background, but now it was overshadowed by a more immediate, more terrifying threat. This wasn't just a purgatory of perpetual craving, it was something far darker, far more sinister. We weren't just denied our fix, we were prey. As the shadowy figure began to drift closer, its form becoming slightly more defined, I understood. This wasn't just about the drugs, it was about the desperation, the vulnerability, the endless need that clung to us like a second skin. This place wasn't just denying us our high, it was feeding on our hunger. I looked around at the countless lost souls, their vacant eyes reflecting the endless yellow. We were trapped in a cycle of eternal craving, surrounded by our own kind, haunted by the ghosts of our addiction, and now hunted by something unknown and terrifying. There This was the price we paid, and the high we so desperately chased had led us to a bottomless pit.